In this video, I'm going to be showing you step by step how to completely restore this Game Boy Advance SP to relive your childhood. This is a great project to put in an IT resume for an entry level position. The budget for this project is around $150, $100 for the Game Boy, $20 for the shell, and around $5 for the vinyl sticker. First off, we're going to want to check the device mainly for rusting on the screws and ports, which could ruin the install. You're also going to want to check the LCD that might need to be replaced, which can inquire costs. Also, you want to be sure that the device can read games. Now here I'm removing the battery cover and double checking the battery if it's swollen, in which case it needs to be replaced. After removing the battery, there's going to be 6 screws that need to be removed, 4 holding the case together, 1 under the battery, and 1 where the cartridge slot is. Now all you have to do is remove the back cover by lifting it vertically up, which will reveal the motherboard. Don't be intimidated, there are just 3 Phillips screws to remove in order to remove the motherboard. Now there are 2 slightly difficult parts to this install, which I'm going to walk you through. The first part is here underneath the motherboard. There is this ribbon cable that needs to be removed. All you're going to want to do is slightly flip over the motherboard, careful not to put too much tension on it, and just slide the 2 black slide locks that hold the ribbon cable in place. You can see right here I'm demonstrating how it works. After that, I'm just removing the gamepad buttons and the speaker from the device. Here we're going to go ahead and remove the rubber stoppers that are protecting the LCD screws. And now we're just going to take our Y-bit screwdriver and go ahead and remove these 5 screws holding the LCD. After removing those 5 screws, the LCD back panel should just come out. Be careful not to remove the LCD as I'm demonstrating here, because the hinge cover is still protecting this ribbon cable from being removed. Just go ahead, take your Phillips, unscrew this 1 screw to pop out that hinge cover, and the LCD should just pop right out. After removing the LCD, the second difficult part is coming up here, which is removing the hinges from the shell. All you're going to want to do is grab a pen, pencil, screwdriver. In this example, I'm using my screwdriver here, and just push with a lot of force to pop out the hinges from the frame. It takes a lot of effort. Just keep going at it, and eventually it will pop out. Now you're just going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Be sure to memorize which side hinge came out of which side. Here I'm just disassembling the new case to make it easier to install. Now time for the reassembly of the new shell for the Game Boy Advance. Here I'm lining up the notch holes to put back the hinges into the hinge slot. And if you look closely, you'll see that there are actually notches for the hinge where it needs to slide in. Now what I'm doing is I'm removing the old blue hinge caps from the hinges themselves, and I'm putting on the clear Atomic Black hinges onto the cap. It's a very simple sliding method, just align the grooves and slide them on, slide them off. And just go ahead and do the same thing for the other hinge on the other side. Now I'm getting ready to put the hinges inside the new case, so I'm aligning the notches here and applying a little bit of elbow grease to get the hinge back into the frame. Now I'm just inserting the hinge on the other side, aligning the grooves and sliding it in. The next step is cleaning the LCD and sliding the ribbon cable into the slot here. And now that we have the ribbon cable through the slot, we're going to go ahead and put the hinge cover onto the case. Now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and put the LCD back cover and screw in these 5 screws to hold the LCD in place. When screwing in these LCD screws, do it in a star-like formation to avoid too much tension being drawn in on one side of the LCD to avoid it breaking. Now that we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and put the buttons back in, and we have one slightly difficult part left, which would be to reconnect the motherboard. Here I accidentally forgot the speaker, so just go ahead and put the filter and speaker back in the hole. And so now we're moving on to the last slightly difficult part, which is reconnecting the motherboard to the LCD. Go ahead and make sure that the sliding locks are open. Go ahead and extend the ribbon cable and hold it in place with your thumb as you see me doing in the video. Go ahead and push it into it's pretty straightforward to slide it into the LCD slot and slide down the sliding locks on each side. Then after you do that, carefully flip the motherboard back onto the back casing and align the hole. Now it's all smooth sailing and downhill from here. Go ahead and screw in the 3 motherboard screws that we removed earlier. Here I'm just doing a little test to make sure that the LED is working properly. Here is where I actually realized that I forgot the speaker and I had to remove the motherboard, put back the speaker, and re-screw on the motherboard, and everything works fine. Here I'm putting on the power switch for the new shell. It's very important that you have this silver box screw at the back of the new shell casing, otherwise the back cover will not screw in properly. Now you can go ahead and put the back casing back on the motherboard to enclose it. Make sure everything snaps in place completely flush. Now that we're almost finished with the assembly, just go ahead and place back those 6 screws. 1 near the GBA slot, 1 behind the battery, and the 4 Phillips screws to hold down the case. Lastly, we're going to go ahead and slide in our battery and the battery cover and screw that down with the Phillips tip. And we're just going to have one more test to make sure everything works. And now we are going to put the LCD rubber stoppers to cover the screw holes. Now we're just going to go ahead and slap on our Nintendo logo and our back logo. Now finally, we're going to seal the deal by applying this Gengar Evolution vinyl sticker. Make sure it's a 2:2 ratio if you do plan to purchase one. I'll have a link in the description of where I bought my sticker. Make sure it's a 2:2 ratio. In this tutorial I used the plum color. And here we go, here's the final product. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content in the future. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.